Hi guys, it's Nicole and I'm back with another project for Erica Rowe's design team. I will have all kinds of stuff linked down below, so if you have questions about products, go to the description box first. Today I am playing with the Echo Park Best Summer Ever collection that Erica sent to me, and I'm gonna pair it with the stamp set that she designed. I think it's called Beach Bound, and I'm gonna come up with like a fun, bright, summery single page layout. Now, typically I like to either start with a sketch, whether it is paid for, free, something I've doodled myself. For today's layout, I didn't really, I had like a loose idea that I had drawn on a post-it note, but I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. So I just kind of started playing around with stuff and trying different things, kind of auditioning different papers. And as I make decisions, I go ahead and kind of commit to them, and I just work my way around the page. Sometimes I will kind of go like neat and orderly with my photos, my papers, title, journaling, embellishing, like kind of go in order. For this one, like I said, I just kind of started playing with the different products. I took some of the cut apart cards and cut them out with some basic tag dies. Basically, I just kind of wanted to break up the shape and just kind of have fun with a lot of these like summery, water themed like phrases and icons that were on the cut apart sheet. And like I said, I tend to kind of work through almost like I'm asking myself questions. Do I like this? Yes. Okay, move forward with that. Do I like this? No. Okay, kind of keep digging, keep trying different things. And as I work through is kind of how I decide where it's going to go when I'm not starting with like a prompt or a sketch or something like that. At this point, I don't even have my photos printed. I do know which photos I want to use, and I've got about 4 to say 8 photos to choose from. So definitely a good balance to me for a single page layout is kind of within that range. And I did play around with, layering some of the papers together. Ultimately, I'm just going to go with this purple plaid. I just really liked the purple. I feel like you don't see purple in a lot of collections. So anytime I can kind of have fun with purple in general, I like to use it. I feel like, I don't know, it's one of those like forgotten colors. So I think I cut 4 or 5 different tags, and I did mean to intentionally cut some of them upside down, but I forgot. The light pink one I actually cut from like a blank spot on one of the 4x6 cards, and I figured I can kind of embellish that with the stamp set and kind of add some interest there. I did go ahead and kind of come up with a game plan for my title. I'm going to take this is just a blending brush and some Distress Oxide. I think this is Cracked Pistachio. And I've got a scrap piece of smooth white cardstock here that I'm just kind of doing like a one color gradient. I want it to kind of go off into white. And I basically just make sure that the height of my letters is going to kind of be a good spacing. Not spacing. Basically, I want the top of my letters to have like more of the white, and then the bottom of my letters to be that bright green color. I did take some extra ink, add some water to it, and just kind of splatter it on top. I did some water drops too. Basically, I just wanted to have some more texture, kind of like a pattern to that paper that I'm going to create my title with. And then to me, the splatters and the water and stuff kind of leans into the theme of like summer. And in this instance, my photos are from a splash pad playdate. So to me, the sprinkly kind of thing leaned into the theme. I do think that this collection has a ton of different options that you can kind of go in. There's some stuff that's more like pool themed, some stuff that's more like backyard barbecue. Some stuff leans more like summer, like ice cream treat type things. So it was actually really easy for me to kind of pick through and find things to support my photos and where I wanted my layout to go. So this is where I was saying I had gone back, and I'm going to add some splatter on top of this. Again, I just want it to look kind of like homemade pattern paper, I guess I would say. I could have easily have gone and looked for like some tone on tone, but to me it's fun to kind of use these supplies that I buy for card making type techniques, and I like to incorporate them into my layouts when I can. Now, I will say when I run this through my die cut machine, even though I'm using a low tack tape, I make sure that where the tape is hitting is not like close to where I've ink blended or where the letters are going to cut out, because this is just smooth white cardstock. I want to say it's the hammer mill. It will kind of pull up some of it. It will rip the paper a little bit. So I make sure that my tape, if I'm using it, is touching like the part of the paper I'm not going to cut from. Now, if you have seen a handful of my videos, you know I absolutely love to make my own titles. I love doing stacked die cuts, and this is one of those things that I have been recommending to people is get yourself a sticky mat. I buy them from Amazon. They come in a 3-pack for like $10, $12. I cut them apart. One I cut to fit in my MISTI, and then the offcuts is what I use to do things like this. Especially for these really small like detail fonts. It's just enough tack to kind of hold it. It keeps my hands sort of out of it. And the added benefit of it being see-through and a grid is you can literally pick it up and kind of move it around your layout and figure out if you've got the spacing right. Did you spell it right? Like, is it going to fit? That kind of thing. I like using the sticky mats for that. I also get a lot of questions on that embellishment tool. It came in a Pink Fresh card making event, but it is available for purchase like separately now. One end has like a waxy type of tip that you can pick things up with. I think it's meant to be for like jewels, sequins, and stuff like that. I find it works really well for small die cut pieces of paper. And then the other end is, it's not exactly a paper piercer. It's more like a stylus. It has like the little tiny ball on the end of it. So sometimes I use that to wipe like the glue when it oozes out of the side. For bigger, like bulkier style fonts, I will just use my hands to kind of line them up. It just works easier for me. I find that these are, the fact that they're larger, they're a lot thicker, and the fact that they have, the font itself just has straighter lines. It's just a lot easier for me to line it up with my hands than to use the sticky grid mat. So I went ahead and for the word summer and splash, I did 2 layers of white cardstock, and then the top layer is the color. Now I did take my white textured cardstock and I decided to go ahead and add some more splatters. I'm going to do the same green that I ink blended my title with, and then I'm going to bring in some more of that purple because like I said, if I can bring purple in, I will. It's not super noticeable on like the end result, but I do think, like I said, I think it leans into that like splash pad theme. And then I couldn't wait anymore. I think the most exciting thing in my like design team kit was the stamps. Like I knew that they were coming. I was excited for them. So I off camera stamped a bunch of stuff, just kind of got my stamps prepped. I think I ended up with a set of, I did a lot of like the circle embellishment or circle stamped images, knowing that I have circle punches that I can use to punch them out. I did go ahead and do the sun and I did punch it out, but I didn't like the way that it looked. And I think it was just because it was a white punched out piece of paper on top of a white like background. So it was hard to see. And I already knew that I kind of wanted to do some like direct stamping onto the textured paper because at this point, I've come up with the concept that I'd kind of just want to have photos and tags in like two kind of messy, wonky horizontal strips. And then I'm going to put my title and my journaling in the middle. This is a design that I think I've done a handful of times. It's just something that I like. I like having, I don't know, I like having like stuff being in horizontal rows. I don't know. It makes me happy. So I am just kind of spacing everything out and seeing if I want to cut some more tags. At this point, I went ahead and I started printing my photos. I think I printed 4 to start with, and I just kind of eyeballed the sizes based on the size of the Fun in the Sun tag. So some of them are 2.5 wide by 3 inches tall, and some of them are 2 inches wide by 3 inches tall. And then I think I have one that's 2.5 by 2.5. So if I'm going to do smaller photos, I tend to keep them kind of within that sizing. If I go any smaller, it's going to be like 2 by 2s, maybe a 1.5 by 1.5. But again, because I'm incorporating those tags, I kind of want to make sure that when I'm cropping my photos, they are like a portrait-oriented, skinny-ish type of photo. So I settled on these 6 with my tags. Basically, the tags are kind of gonna be maybe like the base of some clusters. I don't tend to follow the rule of like a triangle of clusters. If I can do that, I will. But a lot of times I just start layering things and stacking things, tucking things, and just kind of keep going until I like the end result. And I say that I don't follow design principles, but there's probably design principles that I don't even know about, and maybe I'm doing them. But I've said for years, I just do what I like to do. I share it with you guys, and I hope you find some inspiration to kind of you do you. So, like I said earlier, I knew I wanted to stamp on that pink tag, so I grabbed a couple stamps that I hadn't used yet and went ahead and just did like a darker pink just to have it kind of be like tone on tone. And then I did use a pencil and I just marked where my photos were to come back in and stamp that sun. So my sun is going to be direct on the texture cardstock, and I actually liked that a lot better than when I punched it out. I decided to add the sunglasses and do like a little second generation. I thought that was kind of cute. And again, we've reached sort of like a point where I've made choices, I've said yes to things, so it's time to get those attached, even if it's just with like a little bit of ATG, and give myself the space to still tuck things underneath it. This is just what I like to do, is I've said yes to something. I don't move things around too much. I either like it or I don't. If I like it, I'm going to go ahead and put it down. Having things move around a lot tends to drive me nuts. So whenever I feel like it's time to start putting things down, I start putting things down. Now, normally I would have gone through and done the same with the bottom row. Apparently today I was just really in the mood to play, so I started embellishing that top area before I moved down and started doing anything else. It was one of those things where it was like, yeah, I'll get there, but first I want to play with the stuff on the top. And I think it was once I grabbed that pink like chat box sticker thing and put that down to fill in the gap between my tags, it was like, oh, let's just take a minute and let's have some fun. We know where the other stuff's gonna go, we'll get to it. Before I got to the second row of photos, I did want to go ahead and glue my title down while I had it spaced out, so that I know how much space I have left to kind of push the tags and the photos down below. A lot of times when I do this style, I just kind of know that I'm going to have really long journaling strips, whether either it's going to be one really wide journaling strip to kind of say everything, or maybe up to 3. Like in my previous video, I had 3. If you've seen the floral die cut frame video, you know what I'm talking about. Today's, It's super simple. This was the last trip to this specific splash pad. It was sort of the goodbye to summer. School was starting the following week. Now, where I live, summer kind of goes all the way up until Halloween. It's just hot forever. But this is sort of the last, like, days of freedom where there's no schedules. We can go meet up with other friends. We can show up at the splash pad with water and a giant bag of Cheetos and have a good couple hours of fun. So I went, especially when they were this age, I would make sure to bring like my good camera, and I could stay where it was dry and get some decent photos and know that future me will have fun with them. So again, I've gone through, attached everything down on the bottom, and when I'm looking at like these sticker sheets, sometimes it's really overwhelming when you're looking at them, and it's because the way that they fit everything on there, they don't keep like items together. So knowing that, I just kind of slowly go through and I'm looking for shapes and colors, and sometimes I like a good like skinny phrase. So once I've kind of gone through and I've picked out, I think I picked out like some water balloons, some popsicles, and then I included a bunch of, well, not a bunch. How many did I do? I did 2 circle phrases from the stamp set. I was going to do more, but sometimes there's just too many words and too many things going on. So I wanted to keep it tame, I guess, or balanced. So I have like a couple stamped phrases. I have a couple sticker phrases. I have a couple popsicles, a couple water balloons. Like that's sort of my preference when it comes to embellishments. But the enamel dots, man, I used all of them but the like royal blue color because there wasn't blue in the collection. And to me, it made sense to use all of the dots because to me, those dots are kind of like water sprinkles at this point. So here I'm bringing in my single line of journaling. I just do Google Docs, change the orientation to landscape, change the margins to as wide as they'll go, and change my font and size to kind of stay within one line. So, and I like it when it's like this, where it kind of nestles underneath the title. Now, at this point, you guys, I was about to take a picture and send it to my friend and be like, hey, I'm done. As soon as I opened up the camera on my phone, I realized that that cute little pink word that we just glued together that says splash, I completely forgot. So luckily, I hadn't pushed down that foam strip yet. I'm going to carefully peel it up and figure out how to squeeze in the word splash. I thought it would be kind of cute to layer it. We're going to excuse my neighbors. We're going to layer it on the other stacked title. Now, normally this would make me itchy twitchy, like it's too thick. Because I used thin cardstock, it's actually okay. I don't think it's going to like have like a pressure hole in the page protector. I think it's going to be okay, especially because the journaling strip is about the same height once the foam is kind of incorporated. So with that, my layout is complete. I thank you guys always for stopping by, spending time with me, watching my videos, especially to the end. I hope you enjoy the detail photos. And like I said, check out the description. There'll be a link to Erica's store, her Facebook group, all kinds of stuff. And I will catch you guys next time.